Today we're talking about performance under pressure. I'm going to introduce you to something called the 3-foot rule, and I'm going to talk to you about how not to freeze under pressure. If you're a first responder, law enforcement, military, in any kind of high stakes situation, this is something you try to avoid. And whether you admit it or not, probably something you've struggled with in the past. We all know the feeling. The emergency tone goes out over the radio. The night air is suddenly filled with sirens, shots fired, or an officer needs assistance. Your heart rate spikes to 160 before you even put the car in drive. By the time you get on the scene, the sensory overload is real. Sirens are wailing, lights are flashing, people are screaming, the radio is nonstop chatter, and your brain is trying to process 1,000 inputs at once. This is what we call the fog of war. And if you're not careful, it's where you could freeze under pressure. When I was a rookie, I used to try to solve the entire call the second I stepped out of the car. I was worried about the suspect. I was worried about the victims. I was stressing the perimeter. I was stressing the report that I would have to write later on. I was thinking about what the neighbors were thinking, watching me, videoing me doing my job. I was worried about what the supervisor would say. What was the result? I was completely overwhelmed. I said and did a lot of stupid things. I got aggressive and confrontational when things didn't go my way. I was pretty lucky to make it past that point in my career. I was trying to fight a war on too many fronts. Let me tell you a little story from ancient history. In 61 AD, the Roman general Suetonius Paulinius faced a nightmare scenario. He was outnumbered 20 to 1 at the Battle of Watling Street. Queen Placidia had an army of nearly 230,000 Britons charging at his 10,000 legionaries. If the individual Roman soldiers had focused on the sheer size of the army coming at them, they would have broken ranks and run away. They would have been slaughtered. But they didn't. Why? Because of how they were trained. A Roman soldier wasn't responsible for the whole battlefield. He was responsible for the 3 feet of shield and sword directly in front of him. He didn't have to fight 230,000 people all at once. He just had to hold his line. He just had to handle the immediate threat. The Romans, in this case, won the battle, even though they were severely outnumbered. Marcus Aurelius, who led armies himself, wrote about the specific mental tactic. He called it circumscribing the present. In a high stress situation, your brain wants to time travel. It wants to jump into the future. What if this goes wrong? What if I get sued? What if I get shot? That fear is too heavy to carry while you're trying to do your work. So you have to shrink your world down. And that's why it's called circumscribing the present. You draw a little circle around the present moment and you say, I will only worry about and focus on what is inside this little circle. The rest is just noise and it's just distraction. This is what we call the 3-foot rule. And here's several ways to follow the 3-foot rule when you're working in law enforcement. Number one, you want to isolate the moment. When the chaos hits, stop looking at the whole marathon that's in front of you. Look at the next step. Use the dichotomy and control frequently. Can you control what the suspect does? Nope. Can you control what the witnesses are screaming? No. Can you control your breathing? Yes. Can you control your tactics? Yes. Can you control what you do and what you say right now? Absolutely. Yes. Those things are in your 3-foot circle. Next, work the problem. In the military, they talk about finding the next target. In Stoicism, it is about stripping away the what ifs. Don't solve the lawsuit that might happen 6 months from now. Solve the tactical problem that is happening right here, right now. Secure the scene. Render aid, one thing at a time. Once something is done, check it off and move on to the next thing. Number 3, this is the discipline of a, and it's a fancy Stoic term for not believing the hype. When your brain screams that this is a massive disaster, you have the power to say, no, this is just a high risk traffic stop. This is just a hot call. This is just a busy moment. I have training for this. I will get through this, just like all the other rough calls I've ever been on. Refuse to agree with panic. Refuse to assent to it. So, next time the world feels like it's spinning out of control on a hot call, remember the Legionaries. Forget the 230,000 problems on the horizon. Focus on the 3 feet right in front of you and hold the line. I'll leave you with some words by Marcus Aurelius. He said this: don't let your imagination be crushed by life as a whole. Stick with the situation at hand and ask, why is this so unbearable? Why can't I endure it? You'll be embarrassed to answer. He's pointing out a simple fact that as long as you stick to the present moment and you ask yourself honestly, why can't I handle this? If you're not thinking about what might happen in the future and not dwelling on what happened in the past, the present moment is generally just fine and you're handling it as well as can be in the moment. Don't blow things up. Don't let your mind exaggerate things that are already fairly overwhelming. Until the next video, please remember, worry about the 3 feet in front of you. Use these tactics, put them into practice, and as always, be safe out there.